In today's video, we're gonna solve this weird 3 starts a charm issue we're having with the CLK so we can do more of our fun driving you're about to see. We also take care of almost every fluid in the car and save ourselves thousands in comparison to what you would pay for these services at the dealership. Enjoy the video, see you guys in a second. Alright guys, well, maybe you just saw from those clips in the opening, we took the car on a big adventure today, the CLK, and honestly it did great, but there's still some issues that we need to sort through. The primary O2 codes came back, it popped the fuse again, so there's definitely a short circuit somewhere in that wiring, so I need to really go through it and double check what splices they did and redo them myself and make sure they're in really good shape. And then the other thing that I'm concerned about is we might be getting a little bit of fuel lock because on the way back home today, our fuel sending unit, either fuel sending unit or the fuel pump, sounded like it was screaming a bit. Didn't do that until, I mean, we had driven it hard like all day, launched it on the freeway, from a dig, all this stuff, and on the way back home it started doing that. So I'm going to start to dive into these issues. Again, the fuse that popped is 15, the one that's empty right there. To the right of the 15, it's another 15 that popped. Used to be a 30, so I don't know if they were trying to get it to not pop with that 30 that was in there. I'm gonna do a couple other things too. Like, I know now that the starting issue is not from the orifice that I had drilled out on the PCB, so I'm gonna take out those orifices that I did put in, or the orifice for each side that I put in. I'm going to try to make my oil catch can lines just go straight up here instead of bending down, because I don't feel like they're getting to the right spot, and just overall kind of tidy things up. Got some clear weather right now, so I'm gonna do this real quick before I pull it back into the garage. And then lastly, I'm gonna obviously pull it in, maybe take the O2 sensors back up, and then also need to check the suspension because it's making a bunch of noise now, and I tried to raise the front, but I feel like it didn't really do anything, and I might have just like been maxing out the shocks or something. Because I mean, PSS 9 is kind of weird. They don't have a separate collar for like sliding into the barrel, the bottom part of the coilover. You just basically crank up the spring to raise it, and it's very weird to me, but I don't really feel like it raised the car much, and I think that I may have just pulled it up out of the range of the sway bar now. So I can either do that, or possibly I need to just adjust my sway bar links, and that'll free it up and allow it to raise where it needs to be. I don't really know, to be honest, but I guess I'll just have to play with it because it's definitely making some clunky noises that weren't there prior to me doing that adjustment. So other than that, guys, it was a blast today taking it out. It's driving pretty dang good, especially considering it basically has non-operational O2 sensors right now, or somewhat functioning, so that part is good. Our window regulator on the right passenger side rear, got to figure something out with this because this window doesn't work as of now, and even today it like got stuck a little bit back, and then I had to manually pull it forward so it closes and it can make a good seal. So definitely need to figure that out. It's awesome having the pillarless coupe. I love it on the driver's side, but can't do it on the passenger side right now, so I definitely want to get that function back. But overall, like, I'm getting a lot more comfortable with the car, and it's really cool to be getting to the point where at least I'm driving it to figure out the next necessary steps to get it to the next level, and kind of putting it through its paces. So I'm gonna pop off our filters right now, get those little orifices out, because I know it's not really a thing anymore. Try to straighten up that oil catch can line, like I said, just get it a more streamlined spot so it's not dipping down before it gets to the catch can. Double check if there is anything in the catch can right now. Josh said to try out something for the vapor lock for the fuel, is to push on the Schrader valve, see if it's air or fuel that comes out, go click the key again, do the same thing a couple times, and then on the third time start it and see if it'll start right up. Now it's not cold yet, so the 3 cranking thing only happens when it's cold, so it's not a perfect test, but I'll do that this time, and then next time when it is cold, see if it does it again. So let's get into it. Alright guys, so I got those lines for the catch can kind of rerouted a little bit just to make them a more horizontal, I guess, approach, so it's not dipping down and kind of getting stuck in any spots. Catch can was pretty dang dry, so I don't think it was pulling much. I pulled those 2 pieces out of PCV. Basically I just used silicone whatever funnels and cut little orifices in them. It worked, but I didn't really feel good about leaving them in there long term, and now that the cold start issue I know is not because of that, I'm taking them out. What else? Right now I'm going to test the vapor lock issue. I was just reading back on what Josh said to try for that. So I basically said turn the key on, go to the Schrader valve on the rail, press it, note if it's fuel or air, and then go back to the cycle, cycle the key off, on, and do it again. On the 3rd key cycle, start it. So I got some other stuff to do before I do that, but let's check it out. Alright guys, got one of those done, and all heat shrinked and nicely heat soldered. Gonna do this one. This one it had a little butt connector on it, and I feel like, and from what I saw, it looked like the wires were a bit corroded. I saw a little bit of kind of like that corrosive dust flying off of it when I got it undone. So who knows, man. Could have been. So at least this way we'll guarantee there's a good connection there and we can move forward. Alright guys, we're moving on. Wiring is all tucked back together. I'm going to test out the Schrader valve now to see if it's air or fuel coming out when I turn the key. So plug the battery back on and go cycle the key to 2nd position. Get the fuel pump turning on. Our fuel pump, and then we will see if we got fuel or air at the front. Alright guys, it is back together and time to give it a test start. It's not all the way cold right now, so don't know how that'll affect things, but I'll give it a shot. Definitely seem pretty happy starting up. So, more testing is the only way to know. So, keep driving it, keep you guys updated. I'm gonna pull it into the garage because I want to look at the suspension and get you guys involved in that later on tonight. Alright guys, I interrupt this video to bring you guys a eclipse. This thing is so insanely bright right now. Holy crikey. I got my sunglasses on, I'm trying to look through the camera. It's supposed to happen in about a few minutes. Right now it's just insanely bright. It looks like there's 2 suns. It's like bubbled over. Shout out to my buddy Jason for telling me this was happening. Awesome though. God, it's so insanely bright. It literally looks like there's two suns.
Yeah, I know. I can see.
It's so wild. It's coming up soon, guys. Alright guys, the shadows on our houses are duplicated right now. Crazy. Alright guys, well that solar eclipse was crazy, but I am so curious. I got a good feeling right now. This thing might fire up the first time after the little things we did yesterday, so let's try it out. Alright, come on now. First try. Come on, first try, come on. Yes! Let's go! That is so good. It's a little shaky, but I'll take it. There we go. Alright guys, so based off what I changed yesterday, I mean, some of those things might have helped, but nothing really changes for the start stuff. What I think realistically was going on was the plugs are a bit fouled. And yesterday, because I got the romp on the car for the first time, highway speeds, etc., I cleared out the plugs a little bit. So my plan is I'm going to take this thing out for some more driving. I'll include you guys on the GoPro, and we need to keep ripping on it and seeing if those O2 sensor codes come back or if it pops that fuse again, because I did redo those wires right there, or at least the jumps on them with some nice solder connections. And then yeah, just go rip this thing, get it on highway again, and get it cleared out as much as possible to see if that's gonna fully eliminate those weird cold start issues. But that right there, first time I've got it to start up on the first try since I've had this thing back together. So that is amazing, that is awesome. I think it could have been a bit a vapor lock from us clearing it. Maybe there was some air in the system, because it was definitely aerated the first time I hit the Schrader valve and released the fluid or the fuel. It was definitely very bubbly, so could have been part of the issue as well. So we'll keep going guys. Camera's about to die, I gotta go charge this thing. I will catch you guys later on the GoPro. Alright guys, and before that, actually just put it in the garage, I'm going to adjust the suspension again, take a look at kind of the sway bar links, all that. I'm also going to do a little bit of fluid maintenance, drain the trans and the diff and refill them, just to get, you know, some new fluid in there. Take a look at what the trans fluid looks like. I'll probably change the filter and the pan gasket at the same time. But yeah, I'm so happy to be at this point. This is awesome. This car is fantastic. Driving it yesterday was a freaking blast. So let's get it a little more dialed in. Keep going. Alright my dudes, we are back with the CLK. I wasn't going to include you guys on this part because we've already talked about suspension before, but I found something interesting and I did want to show you guys. So, alright guys, so showing you on the passenger side what I was talking about. So that is the bottom of the coil right there. Now, I was working on the driver's side and I was trying to figure out how the heck do you adjust these, because if you see that little dial right there, it actually came off when I took this little blue cap off on the other side. So all I saw was, you know, a little like square socket end, it looks like, and I'm like, what the heck do I do with that? Well, then I looked back inside of there and it was sitting inside, and then it made sense. But basically you take this and you can choose where you want this to go, kind of based off your clicks here like you normally would with any setting. But it's a little bit different because you can see it goes from 1 to 9 there, but the 1 is the stiffest setting and 9 is the softest. And let's see if I can get my hand in here. You can hear it click as you turn. So if I go like all the way to 9, for instance, it goes all the way click, 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 click till 8, and then you go a long stretch without a click to 9. So there's 8, 7, 6, 5. My light just died. So I am leaving them at 5 on both sides. I believe they were set to either 8 or 9 previously. So I'm going to put it at 5. That's halfway in between stiff and soft, and kind of see where it's at from there. but I've never seen anything on Bilstein PSS 9s online, so I felt like that was worthy to include with you guys. Otherwise, it's just kind of repeating the same process. I'm trying to dial in just the feel of these things, because weird setup, I mean, they're good quality. I love Bilstein, but it's just kind of a weird coilover style because there's no bottom shock body for this to spin into. You're adjusting height and affecting preload by adjusting, you know, on the spring only. So I previously tried to raise them way up to see if I could, you know, increase the height a little bit, but I feel like it was making everything else out of whack. So I put them about halfway in between where they used to be and where I had previously raised them to. So now they're sitting here. You can see that kind of dark dirt line of where they used to be sitting. So I'll see how this feels, and then if it's not better, then I'll just put them back to where they used to be, because honestly, I don't think it really changed height much, like maybe 1/4 of an inch or so. It wasn't enough to warrant me going away from how they felt before. So we'll see how that does and see how the dampening feels down below, and we can always adjust afterwards, but figured I should include that for you guys. Alright, you guys, got the front wheels back on. Suspension is, I mean, good for now. We'll see how it feels and then adjust from there. But I want to service the trans and service the diff, so why not? I mean, I can include in this video, or I can make it a separate video, but I feel like most YouTubers would be like, oh, let's make more videos and make more people watch my channel, but I don't know, it's just a simple job. Might as well just throw it into this video. This is kind of like the last going over everything, and then the next video is going to be installing the Z-Tronics kit and working with the Star DOS setup to delete the rear O2s, and hopefully our O2 sensor, primary O2 sensor issue is solved after redoing those connections on the wires. But I'm gonna go ahead and jack up the rear and let's go for it. Alright guys, no diff right now because I don't have the right Allen socket, and also it might be a little tricky because of the way they did the exhaust to get to the fill tube. I think I can get to it, but yeah, I don't have the right bit for it. I only have the big Torx bits. I don't have regular Allen bits. Been a while. Last time I did a diff was on the silver C55 or diff fluid, and I didn't remember that it was a giant Allen. I thought it was like a square socket for a ratchet, whatever. But anyways, I think instead we're gonna go ahead and drain our transmission fluid, see how much comes out, and replace the pan, gasket, and filter. And for those that didn't see, I got these. They were like 12 bucks on Amazon. Super good deal. I've always been a fan of Beck Arnley for most things, and especially they make a lot of good German products. So, or you know, German application products. So this is a 0440350 gasket and filter. Both look really good, so it'll do the job. Let's go ahead and get the fluid drained out. The way I do this most of the time is I drain the fluid out and then pull the filter, let that fluid fall into the pan as well, and then I pour that fluid into an empty like oil container or something where you can count how many quarts came out, and then basically just refill that amount, whatever it comes out to. So that's what I'm going to do. That's what I've always done. I use Valvoline Max Life trans fluid. It's always what I've used on all 722.6s, never had an issue, so I will continue to do so. Get this thing redialed in with the new transmission fluid. Alright guys, got this thing cracked loose. That was a little tight, but should be okay now. Get this started and see what this fluid looks like on the way out. From up top on the dipstick, it wasn't too bad. I'll turn that light back on in a second. But still good to at least, even if we just drain and fill it, to be honest, it's still good to do. That fluid looks very red, actually. Let's put this back on. Oh, never mind, actually. Looks a little brown. So, not a bad idea to be doing this. Oh yeah, it's definitely dirty. Alright, I'm glad I'm doing this. Never mind. So, one sec, guys. air pocket. Alright guys, we got our pan out. Definitely some clutch material, nothing crazy, pretty typical. Weird thing though, this one does not have a magnet in it, so I'm actually going to steal the one out of the pan over here, because I think it should definitely have a magnet in there. So go ahead, set that in the back. Well, actually, I'll do that once I clean this up. But yeah, I'll put the magnet in there. Pop that filter out in a second, but made a mess trying to get this thing out of here. It got caught in a corner and dropped fluid on my shoulder. So let me R&R real quick, and I'll catch back with you guys. Alright, you guys, got the pan all wiped down, clean for now. I'll clean that tomorrow, most likely. I'm not gonna get this job done tonight. No point. This filter, there's a chance, guys, that this trans never has been serviced. This is an original Mercedes filter and quite dirty. So there's a possibility. You guys, with these 722.6s, never really know. I assume somebody has to have done it at some point, but it's pretty crusty filter wise, and got a lot of sediment on it, so I don't know. But anyways, that's why we're doing this. We got to see what's in there and start fresh with my ownership and when everything has been done. So now we got a record of it, and I can move forward with a little more peace of mind, and more importantly, car will hopefully perform a little better with fresher fluid in there. I'm tempted to drop the valve body and do the conductor plate, but I'm gonna give it some thought overnight. I have one. I was saving it for the M155 whenever it needs it, because it's getting up there in mileage, but I mean, technically got one right there, got the brand new one. I don't know, see what I want to do, but moving forward. But gasket is on, perfect fit, nice and sealed. Here is the filter. Let me pop this out of the bag. Alright, so there it is, guys. No problems whatsoever. All this stuff, really nice quality. I would not hesitate, especially for the price. 12 bucks, can't really beat it for a kit with a filter and a gasket from a good known part supplier. Yeah, no brainer to me. I picked up a couple of them to have on hand for all the cars. So I'm gonna go ahead, pop the filter back in, and get the pan back on the car. Alright, you guys, one other thing I'm going to do while I'm in there is this conductor plug. The one on this car happens to be not in good shape. The C55 was totally fine, totally dry, but this one is covered in oil, so I'm going to go ahead and spray it off with some electric cleaner and plug this new one in. Alright, you guys, well, that's the old one. I'm not bothering filming down there because it's such a tight squeeze, just no point, but yeah, this thing is definitely shot. Just seen better days. That's about it. Seal's not too rubbery anymore, but just in general, guys, these things just don't hold seal for forever. You got to change them. So every time we do a trans service, it's always good to take a look, and you can usually easily tell if there's any fluid on the outside. You know the inside of here it's going to be caked up. So glad to have this out. Alright guys, I got everything buttoned up down below, got that new connector in. I just measured out our fluid that came out. Looks like just about 3.5 liters, or just under 4 quarts. It's probably like exactly 4 quarts, considering the little bit of fluid I lost on the floor. So my max life container is 3.78 liters, which should be pretty close to exactly what we need. So I'm just going to throw this whole thing in there, and then we'll get the car warmed up and measure it. This I am going to wait till tomorrow though, because I'm going to go pick up the Allen bolts for the Allen keys for the diff, so I can do this while it's still up in the air and get everything sorted. But yeah, we should have exactly enough. I might pick up another one just to have it on hand, because I'm going to need it for the other cars anyways. But yeah, should be just about good. That's typically what they are, about 4 quarts for a drain and filter change. So right in the ballpark, that's good. It means fluid level was accurate. What's up guys, welcome back. Next night, went to Harbor Freight earlier, grabbed a little funnel set, so we'll have the tiny little funnels to be able to use for the trans dipstick. I did get the correct hex sockets for the diff. I'm gonna go ahead, pop the airbox off. I'm gonna go double check that I tightened everything down below, because I was tired and, you know, non-full functional. So I'm gonna do that, and then we'll get our transmission fluid in. Should be, from most techs that I spoke to and everything, my experience in the past, about 4 liters or 3.5 quarts of fluid when you do a drain, filter, and refill. So let's try that out. And also, guys, we call this place, since we've moved in, the House of Spiders. Well, we don't actually call it the House of Spiders, but we just call it the Spider House. It's just, there's spiders everywhere over here. And for those that remember, a long time ago when I was working on this car, when it was parked outside for a long time, there was one day where I put my hand down right here and a giant wolf spider almost jumped on my hand. Well, I don't know who this guy is, but he will not leave. It's like, I saw it poking out one day of the hood, and I literally sat here for like an hour one day with the vacuum trying to get this thing out of here. It will not leave. It's like living behind the cowl somewhere, and it's terrifying, and I don't like it. It's literally got webs on both sides here, and it's just like living in the corners trying to catch stuff, and I don't like it. So I'm gonna try to vacuum this out again, and hopefully I can suck him out of there or do something. I don't try to kill bugs or anything like that, but man, this thing's got to go. I don't know what the heck or where the heck it is, but the last time I saw it, it is massive. It's probably the biggest spider I've ever seen. Alright guys, note to self, safety first. I usually always have my, like, at least my computer glasses or something on when I'm working on the car, but for some reason I didn't this time, and I just found something you guys will be interested in that let a bunch of plastic debris fall into my eyes. And my left eye is definitely hurting right now. So hopefully it'll kind of work itself out, but it's not feeling too hot at the moment. So I'm gonna jump back down there and show you guys what I saw and finish this up. Alright guys, so what got into my eye was this right here. Just found this section. For whatever reason, I didn't really mess with this. I did snake this nylon sheathing over it, but this section was definitely resting up against the exhaust. Probably was never an issue when I was just, you know, cruising around, but when we just recently took it on the freeway and got it hot, definitely smoked up the wires in this section. Luckily, this is all for the rear O2s, so we're going to be disabling this anyways. But I need to get this out of the way, obviously, for the time being. Everything else down here is all dry and tight. Trans plug, all of the bolts, pan bolt, etc. So we just got to go up top after I finish up the little wire repair down here, fill up our fluid, and we should be good. But man, my eye doesn't feel good. Alright guys, before I move on to the wiring down below, I'm going to go ahead and fill up the trans. Like I said, probably about 3.5 quarts or 3.8 liters. We have 3.8 liters in this jug, so probably do about, probably close to all of it, to be honest. But I'll see once I get to the last bit. I'll kind of leave it, check it, see how it looks. But my contraption for this, it's a tight squeeze back there, so I have a hose that fits in there kind of snug, and attaching that onto a funnel here. So I'm gonna try this, see how it works. Hopefully it'll do the job. Alright guys, well, a very slow process here. I'm wondering, maybe some people use like a vacuum machine or something to fill the fluid back up, but yeah, this is tedious, guys. I'm doing basically like 1/8 of a quart every pour and just waiting for it to slurp down slowly. Sheesh. Alright guys, just finished putting that in. Left a little bit in the jug, like tiny bit, but I just tried to put in exactly, basically just under 4 quarts. That's exactly what we pulled out. I did lose a little bit on the floor, but it wasn't a lot, and I was also measuring from this thing, which it had a little bit of fluid probably left over in it, so rough estimate, about 3.5 quarts to 4 quarts is what typically you put back in. So
I settled around 3.8 quarts. This is 3.8 liters, which is 4 quarts. So yeah, a little bit left. Math. Why do we use so many different scales, guys? Anyways, I need to patch up that wiring, or at least get it out of the way. It's annoying. I don't want to do it right now, but better safe than sorry. So I'm going to try to do it as proper as I can right now, and then get this thing back on the ground, fire it up, and move it outside so I can hopefully drive it tomorrow. Alright, you guys, last look down here. I'm stuck, but I got this area cleaned up pretty good. I rerouted those wires, so now they're behind the steering column right there. That was kind of crazy. I mean, everything like I've talked about on this build, guys, nut and bolt has been pretty good, but wiring has not been good. So kind of insane that they tried to tuck them right there. Like, I don't know, it's just asking for trouble. So anyways, got them out of the way, got them zip tied, so they're not going to go anywhere. I didn't re-solder those wires, those 4 butt connectors. I just basically electric tape around each one of them to make sure they're not going to come into contact with each other. Because like I said, we are going to disable these anyways, so I just didn't feel like close quarters right now trying to reheat solder all of those, and I didn't have any new butt connectors to make it easy on myself. So yeah, just doing what we can for the time being, making sure it's at least safe and tucked away. So I think we are all done underneath here, guys. Definitely took longer than I thought it would have tonight, but that's okay. Trans is filled up, new pan, new gasket, and new pilot bushing, and a potential hazard caught before it came to be something worse, which wouldn't have been good. Melting wires on headers is not a good thing. So who knows, that could have been why the fuse popped again. That could have been why the fuse popped in the first place, to be honest. But we shall see. I'll see what codes come back, but catch you guys up top because I'm not that comfortable right now. Alright, you guys, it is a couple days later. I've been busy. We're working on a bunch of little projects, but we're getting close to firing this thing up. There's a few little things that I want to check on. We'll get this thing started here shortly once I finish up those jobs and fire it up, make sure our fluid level is correct, and get on the way with this project. Alright, you guys, what is going on? I'm in the middle of a couple jobs right now, but I am going to service the diff. Actually, in this video I changed my mind, so we're on the thick of that, or we're in the thick of that right now. I'll take you guys back there in a second. We are going to be doing a fog light delete, and I'm in the middle of filming that video, but just throwing it in here to give you guys a preview, so be on the lookout for that. Thank you. There was an individual who sent me like some money on PayPal as a down payment or deposit because they wanted to see this video, and it's super simple, so I'm super happy to share. So that'll be out soon, but let me show you guys what's going on with the diff. Just popped it open. It is a 14mm Allen socket or Allen key, and got that open. Always start with your fill hole, guys. Can my camera even make it in there? I don't think it can. Where is it? Alright, right there, there we go. So there's our fill hole, and our plug is on the ground right there. So basically, I'm going to drain the other side right now. I'll show you guys what the fluid looks like draining out, and then I'll refill it. I have fluid up here on the counter, which I'm going to be using right there. 75-90 weight synthetic Valvoline fluid in the squeeze bags, which I think is going to end up being clutch for our placement right here for our fill plug. So anyways, let's see what the fluid looks like. Alright, you guys, got our drain bolt all done, our drain plug, and there we go. Oh great, oh great, no. Alright, well, it looked pretty dirty, and now it's all over the floor. Awesome. Always shoots up farther than you think it's going to. Pause. Anyways, let me clean this up. Sheesh. Alright guys, well, crisis averted somewhat. Out of all the fluids you could spill, diff fluid is probably one of the nastiest. If you know the smell, you know what I'm talking about, but that's all cleaned up. I'm gonna go ahead and fill it up. I got my drain plug back in there. I gotta tighten it down. Then we'll go ahead and put our bags in here, and hopefully we can squeeze these in there okay without too much of a hassle. I might have to put a little hose attachment on here or something to make it easier on myself, but yeah, these should make the job a little bit easier. So full synthetic, 70 weight, 75, W90, winter weight, 75, aka. So I've used this stuff in C55, M155, bunch of stuff at this point, so throw it in. Alright you guys, time to drink up. Just kidding, made this little apparatus. Just attach a hose on here, should make it a little easier squeezing this in, so let's go for it. Alright you guys, well you can't see much, but it's working like a charm right now. So just gonna keep going, basically just squeezing the bag and filling up our diff. Should be about 1.6 quarts or 1.6 liters, can't remember, but basically just fill it till it starts dribbling out, so I'll let you guys know when that is. Alright guys, we are all buttoned up down here, got everything wiped off. Sometimes those jobs like that, you just make a mess no matter what you try, so funnel definitely helped, the squeeze bags definitely helped, but still made a bit of a mess, but that's okay. It's filled up. It probably took about 1.6 quarts before it started dripping out, so that job done. Alright you guys, well to close out this let's skip the cost of the dealership video with these services. We've done the trans, we've done the diff, we've done some tidying up as well underneath the car with the wiring, but onto the fluids that we have yet to do, coolant and our oil. We're going to take care of those as well. So again guys, we went to the dealership. This would cost crazy money. I've spent, you know, a fraction of that just on the fluids alone, and of course my time, but this is a great way to save yourself some money if you are an owner of one of these cars or anything like this, so, and with any car in general. But yeah, coolant is coming up. I just picked up a boatload of Xerox G48. I use all kinds of stuff, to be honest. I just make sure I'm running the same coolant in whatever I'm using. I've used the G09. I think the M155 still has Xerox G09 in it. The C36 has Pre-Stone Platinum. The ML63 used Pre-Stone Platinum. So it's just whatever you're going to use. In this case, I'm just going to keep it simple. Just run a normal OEM fluid, which is the blue Mercedes fluid. So that's what we're doing. This is super dirty. Like super dirty last time I looked. And to be honest, it might have a different kind of fluid in it right now, unless it's just really dirty, but it looks more like yellowish or greenish. So we'll see. It looks like almost black when you look through here, which maybe it's just dirty, I don't know. But we definitely need to get some fresh stuff in it. So I'm going to drain it out, see how much we get out, and go from there. Alright guys, belly pan off. I don't know if I have my crush washers to do the oil right now. I might drain it, and then I think Mike is coming over in the morning. We're going to work on some other stuff, but my crush washers are over at my parents' house, so don't know what I'll do about the oil right now. But anyways, I'm just going to do the petcock for the radiator real quick. It's just a simple flat blade screwdriver. Turn this thing left. Should come open. I need to get a bigger screwdriver actually, that's something that fits in there a little better. But just crank this thing to the left and it should pop open. I'm going to get my pan underneath in case it starts spilling out. Alright guys, petcock undone, and yeah, like I saw, this is probably just generic coolant. So now I'm kind of wishing I would have got Pre-Stone for it, but oh well, I guess. Let this drain out. Alright guys, much better method. Forgot they have the little drain vent right there, so just put a hose on it. It's going straight into the pan now. A lot less messy. Alright guys, to be honest, I wish I had a different coolant expansion tank right now. This thing is nasty inside. You guys can't see, but oh, maybe you can a little bit right there, but that back corner right there is just
caked with stuff. So yeah, I could like flush a bunch of times and try to get out of there, but instead I think I'm just gonna try to get a microfiber down there with a screwdriver and just kind of waft around and try to get it as picked up as I can. It doesn't really look like that anywhere else. It's just that back corner is full of nastiness, all kind of like little sediment and stuff, so I'm gonna try to get that out of there. Alright guys, well, you're not gonna see much in there, but you can actually see, I think, on camera already. Got that back corner pretty clean. Just used a screwdriver and a microfiber a bunch of times and got all that sediment out of there. Stuck the magnet wand in it beforehand and nothing came out, so that's a good sign. It's just dirt and, you know, nastiness, grime from that pocket. This was like this on my C55 too, and almost all the cars that, you know, just over time collect with the original expansion tank. That corner just catches all that kind of sediment, and thankfully it's a good thing. It just traps it there. It doesn't keep going in the system somehow. But yeah, that back corner was nasty, so that's all cleared out. We've done our drain. That sounds like it has stopped, so I'm gonna go ahead and tighten up the petcock. And the way I do this, guys, is basically just fill up the system and burp the hoses as much as I can. M113K is a little different here. You don't have quite as much access to your hoses here. And there's also, looks like a plastic fitting in the center of that one, so it's going to be a little hard to burp just this one little piece. But I can try, and then I will obviously let the motor run. M113s are self-bleeding, so once I got this thing back fired up, then I will let it run with the cap off, get it to burp all the way, and it'll be good that way. But we can probably get a good burp on it just by filling it up, letting it kind of chug itself, and then squeezing on the hoses a little bit to get it to pass through. So let me fill it up, and we'll go from there. Because that other coolant, whatever was in there, I don't know. Could have been GO5, could have been some, you know, just universal yellow coolant. Because that was in there, what I'll likely do is fill it up with as much as I can of the G48, and then in a month or so from now, I will drain it again to try to flush the system fully. I would right now if I had a bunch of, what's it called? Deionized water, or whatever you call it. I'm forgetting the word right now. But if I had the proper water, distilled water, I don't know why I couldn't remember that, but if I had a bunch of distilled water right now, I would just fill it up a bunch of times and let it cycle through and then drain it again. But that's all right. We'll do this. It'll be okay, I'm sure. For the first time, it'll probably be majority of the fluid since a lot came out, but there's still going to be some in the block, obviously. So put this in, let it run for a month or so, and then do the same thing again later on. So we'll see how much it takes. I have these three, and then I also have a non-diluted Mercedes factory coolant still that I can use to mix with this with a bunch of distilled water. So do what we can for now, guys. Alright, you guys, I've got one container in, and I'm about halfway through the other one right now. These are really awesome systems, guys. Like, you don't have to do much. Pour it in, it'll start bubbling itself automatically, and then all you got to do, grab down below, just find your lower radiator hose. So I'm squeezing that hose and just keep kind of squeezing it back and forth, and you can hear it bubbling, and every once in a while you'll get kind of a pop to go through. And there we go, we were up to the brim, and now we're probably an inch below. So just keep doing that. You can pretty much burp these things without even turning them on if you just use your radiator hoses and make it work. On the C55 is even easier because, well, and any NA55, because this radiator hose right here, just squeeze this and you can get like mostly all the fluid to go through. But I'm doing what I can since that one's a little tricky to access, and it's got that plastic fitting right there, so I don't want to maneuver it too much. I'd like to put something else there right there, to be honest, because I don't like plastic fittings on radiator hoses. So I do have one that I could use from the C55 that I was planning to put on that, but oh, there we go. That's gonna get all the bubbles out. So I'm gonna use that one from now on. Top corner right here, and that already burped a bunch down, so I'm gonna keep doing that. All right, guys, I'm gonna wait to drain the oil in the morning just because I don't have the what's called crush washers, so didn't do that. I did take the filter out, put the new filter on. Yes, I'm using the filters that I'm not the biggest fan of, to be honest, but just gonna do the job. They're the Mobile One filters you can find at O'Reilly's and things like that. I think it's M1C253A or something like that. Always want to use Hunks or Man or any type of fleece filters, but to be honest, I change my oil so often on all the cars that it doesn't really matter. Like, I usually go 1,000 miles on each of the cars per year, and they get changed once a year regardless of the mileage. So not having the fleece filters doesn't really kill me. But next time I'll probably put a FCP Euro order in for a bunch of them like I usually do and have them on stock. But I wanted to throw on my 63 Motorsports cap, but for some reason the SL55 cap, I don't know if it's different or if the M113Ks are different than the NAs in general, but I could not get the stem out of the cap to swap it over onto the 63 Motorsports one. So I don't know. I know 63 Motorsports offers those like as a replacement for the M113 and M113K. So I'm not really sure what's up with that. Maybe the SL55 cap is different, but posted it on my IG, so maybe someone will get back to me with that. Anyways, I will catch you guys in the morning once we can finish up this fluid resurrection and get this thing fired up. Alright guys, next morning, Mike should be here any minute because we're going to be working on this thing, but he's bringing over the washers that I was talking about for the oil, so I'm going to go ahead and get that drained. Crows are going absolutely insane outside. I don't know what's going on, but anyways, get this drained, and then as soon as he gets here, I'll get my crush washers, and I'll be able to plug it up and pour in our oil. Like I said, I think I mentioned earlier, but I'm going to be running a mix. I do this on a lot of cars just to get to the weight that I want and just using what I have. Because this car has no cats, I'm good using high zinc oil, which I like to do. So I'm going to be using VR1 2050. This is like a semi-synthetic, and then full synthetic 5W40, just regular Mobile 1. That'll just bring the weight down a tiny bit and give it a little bit of full synthetic in there, help it last a longer. Like I said, probably does not matter because I change the oil on all the cars every year, and they don't accumulate that many miles because I'm spreading the miles out between them. So yeah, we'll get that in there. Let me get the oil drained and we'll see what it looks like. Oh guys, first knuckle buster in the cold. Oh my god. Youch! Somebody way over torqued both the drain plugs. They're undone now, thankfully, but oh my god, dude, my finger. Oh man, had to put the Darth Vader glove on, guys. Provide this thing a little warmth. Man, I haven't done one of those in a while. That freaking hurt, man. Ouch. Okay, well, let me get this draining and I'll see what it looks like. Alright, there it is, guys. Nothing to write home about. Pretty black, but pretty typical. Let this drain, and then we got the front baffle as well. Get that one undone. Get all probably 8.5, 9 quarts out of here. And once I get my crush washers, plug it back up. Alright guys, package secured. Mike just got here, he's chilling inside having some coffee. We're going to start our big project in a second, but these are my aluminum crush washers. They're M14, designated for like Hondas and Acuras, but same size you need. So got 2 of those. I'm going to go put the drain bolts back on and we'll fill this thing up. Alright guys, that completes our fluid changes. I'm going to go ahead and get this thing on the ground, fire it up. I got to move Mike's truck. I'll get it backed out of the garage, let it get warm. I'll check the transmission fluid once I get it kind of through the gears and warm. We literally just did every fluid. I got to make sure the system burps, so I'll keep this off when I start it for a little bit, let it get up to temp. But yeah, every fluid besides the supercharger oil, which I plan on doing later, and the killer chiller fluid, which doesn't really need to be changed right now. So pretty crazy. Brakes also, I'll do that sometime soon. Brake fluid, but looks pretty clear as of now. So yeah, that was a big service, but I'm super happy. It's all fresh now. I like to do this for all my cars when I first get them, because that way you know what the baseline is, what everything is, and when it's been done, etc. So let me get this thing on the ground, and fingers crossed it'll fire up first time like it did earlier in this video. Just started up. Alright guys, Mike's joining us. We're working on that thing today, but closing out this video. All the fluid's done. Adjusted the suspension. First fire up. Fingers crossed.
Built an antifreeze or something?
Yeah, right. Now we have trans fluids. So. Yeah, trans fluids. Alright guys, she's sitting happy. I think she's good. Got no leaks as of now. I'm gonna go ahead and shut her down because we got other work to do, but catch up with you guys later. Pretty much up to temp. It's getting warm in here. I'm gonna close it down and then I'll check fluid levels and everything and get back to you guys. Alright you guys, a few days later, and unfortunately we just can't catch a break with the weather. And this video is going out to you guys tomorrow, so I will say fluids are all level, everything is good to go. I really wanted to romp on it with you guys a little more than just the intro of the video, but I gotta wait till we got good weather guys, so we'll have to wait for the next video. Next things planned, like I mentioned earlier, Z-Tronics kit and the AFR gauge, and then really that's when all the fun is unleashed and we've got this thing pretty dang dialed. I am gonna do the power steering fluid and the supercharger oil in there as well. It's like one of the few fluids I didn't touch, as well as brake fluid, but we should be pretty good to go. This thing is so much fun, and I can't wait to show you guys more and more as we go. And like the title suggests, we saved ourselves thousands at the dealer. I'm in a C55 group chat on IG, and I asked all the techs, like, hey guys, if you did such service that we did in this video, what would it cost if I actually took it to the dealer? The average price was anywhere from like $1,000 to $2,000, so somewhere in between there, let's say $1,500 for all the services I did, not to mention fixing the little wiring stuff, adjusting the suspension. So realistically, if I dropped this off to the dealer and I told them, hey, sort all these things that I have, take care of all these fluids that I want to do, I'd probably be looking at like $2 to $3 grand for the work that I did in this video. So I probably spent a couple $100s on fluid, if that, and that's about it. Filter, stuff like that for the trans was cheap, you guys know. Oil I had on hand already, but you know, even if I spent money on that, let's say 60 to 90 bucks. Transmission fluid, 30 bucks for a 5-quart container. The Xerox G48, I think it was $55 for all 3 containers, so couple $100 and time, a couple hours, and we got this thing all fresh with all the fluids. So definitely take care of these yourself if you can. You will save yourself a ton of money over the course of owning these cars, and it's simple. I mean, once you get the hang of it, it's really not much to it. Might make a little bit of a mess, as you saw I did with a few of the fluids in this video, but oh well, that's easy to clean up, and you can always take a shower to scrub yourself off after. So that's it, guys. Sorry we didn't get to rip it at the end of this video, but I got to get this out to you guys tomorrow. We got other stuff in the works. I'm gonna give you a real quick sneak peek for people that are patient enough and loyal enough to stick to the end of the video right here. It's gonna be quick, so pay attention. What'd you see? What did you see? Anyways, I'm busy at work with some big stuff, so stay tuned. Thank you guys so much for watching. Love all you guys. Have a good one wherever you're at, whatever time it is. Catch you on the next one. Peace.